Long before sunrise, the mountain town of Pinebrook slumbered under a heavy quilt of snow. The world was silent, but Anna woke abruptly to the harsh, strobing blue of police lights splashing across her bedroom ceiling. For a moment, she thought she was back in Afghanistan. Shouts, urgency, the blur of movement in the dark. Then reality snapped into focus. The cold draft under her cabin door, the shape of snow piling against the window, the echo of distant voices carried on the winter wind. Anna threw on her parka, her breath fogging in the icy air, and stepped into boots by the door. As she opened the cabin door, the scene outside hit her like a punch. Her porch, blanketed by fresh snow, was streaked with something dark, blood. A sick chill crawled up her spine as she looked closer. Hoofprints, large, deliberate, crisscrossed the steps, stained a deep, angry red. Her heart hammered in her chest. Something was very wrong. She scanned the yard, senses sharpened by panic, and that's when she saw it. Collapsed at the edge of her porch, half hidden by a drift, was a horse, not just any horse, a striking white stallion, his flank and neck smeared with blood, sides heaving as if every breath was a battle. Snowflakes clung to his mane. Anna's gut twisted. She'd seen enough carnage to recognize a living being in desperate straits. She moved quickly, falling to her knees beside the animal. "Hey, easy boy, easy," she murmured, voice trembling. The stallion's breath steamed in the frigid air, his eyes rolling white with pain and exhaustion. Anna's hands shook as she reached out, gently lifting the horse's massive head. That's when she saw it, tangled in his mane, a tiny pink mitten. Lily's mitten. Her heart stopped. For a split second, the whole world seemed to tilt off its axis. Anna's mind spun with questions. Where was Lily? Why was her mitten here? Why was this horse bleeding on her porch at dawn? A cold, metallic dread gnawed at her as she surveyed the snow. There were no other footprints, only the horse's desperate trail and the drag of something small beside it. Anna called out, voice cracking, "Lily! Lily!" The only answer was the whisper of wind through the pines. She clutched the mitten, her mind replaying the night before. Lily's laughter as she'd bundled up for bed. Her promise to finish the snow fort tomorrow. Anna had stayed up late grading papers, comforted by the knowledge that her daughter was safe. Now the silence was crushing, filled only by the horse's labored breaths. A siren wailed closer. Anna's head snapped up as a Pinebrook police cruiser crested the driveway, tires crunching over the snow. She waved frantically, relief and dread warring in her chest. Officer Martinez jumped out, eyes widening as he took in the scene. "Anna, what happened?" "I don't know," Anna rasped, voice hoarse. "He just showed up. And Lily's mitten, she's gone. I can't find her and—" Martinez's face darkened with concern. "Stay here. I'll radio for backup and paramedics. Don't move." Anna barely heard him. Her focus narrowed to the horse, his massive chest still, his head heavy in her lap. He exhaled, a warm, trembling gust against her palm, and nuzzled her hand with surprising gentleness. In his eyes, Anna saw something she recognized from her own nightmares. Pain, yes, but also a desperate hope. She pressed her forehead to the horse's neck, whispering, "Hang on, big guy. Please." For a moment, all the noise faded. The flashing lights, the crunch of boots in snow, the rising tide of her panic. It was just her and the wounded animal, each searching for comfort in the other. Anna's mind raced with questions. How had a horse, a white stallion of all things, come to her cabin, bleeding and carrying her daughter's mitten? Why did he seem so desperate to reach her? Something clicked in her memory. The horse's build, his battered look. She'd seen him before, years ago, in newspaper stories about Pinebrook's police force. This was Ghost, The retired police horse. They'd said he'd been sent away after a bad incident, though no one ever explained what happened. He was supposed to be safe on a ranch, living out his days in peace. Now he was here, his body torn and shaking, his eyes full of silent plea. Anna's resolve hardened. Whatever had happened tonight, it wasn't an accident. Lily didn't just wander off in the middle of the night, mitten lost, with a bloodied service horse appearing at her door. As officers cordoned off the yard, Anna's phone buzzed in her pocket. She answered, barely registering the questions fired at her. Details, last seen times, any possible enemies. The truth was, she had none. She was a teacher, a single mom. Her life was simple by choice. But now something had shattered that calm. Anna knelt beside Ghost, gently probing his wounds. He flinched but didn't lash out. She saw old scars under his fresh injuries, deep grooves across his flank, faded marks on his chest. He'd seen more than one battle. Suddenly, she was transported back to Afghanistan, to patrols where wounded Marines would cling to life by sheer force of will. That same stubbornness radiated from Ghost. A paramedic approached with a stretcher, but Anna held up a trembling hand. "Wait, he's the only one who knows where Lily is. Look." She showed them the mitten, her voice rising in desperation. "He came for help. He wants to show us something." As if on cue, Ghost snorted and tried to stand, legs buckling beneath him. Anna gripped his bridle. "Don't, you're hurt." But Ghost wouldn't be deterred. He staggered upright, one leg dragging, and limped toward the tree line at the edge of the property, eyes fixed on the snow-covered forest beyond. Anna's heart pounded. The choice tore at her. Go with the medics to help the horse, or follow Ghost's lead and hunt for her daughter, trusting this battered creature to guide her through the unknown. The police chief barked orders, voices overlapping. Secure the scene, call in search dogs, stay put. But Anna's instincts screamed at her. This wasn't just a lost child case. Something darker lurked in the woods, something that had driven Ghost, wounded, haunted, to seek her out. Anna met the horse's gaze and made her choice, with the mitten clenched in her fist and a prayer in her heart. Anna followed Ghost as he limped into the snowy darkness, determined to find her daughter, no matter what she had to face. The air bit at Anna's cheeks as she hurried after Ghost, the retired police horse moving with surprising determination through the fresh snow. Blue and red lights flickered behind her, bathing the tree trunks in surreal colors. Anna didn't dare look back. She felt every ounce of tension pulling her forward. Her daughter was out there somewhere in the darkness, and this wounded animal was her only clue. A team of paramedics and police officers rushed across the yard, but Anna threw up her arms to shield Ghost. "No, stop! Don't touch him!" she shouted, her voice slicing through the cold. The paramedics hesitated, glancing uncertainly at Police Chief Dale, who strode toward Anna, face set with authority. "Anna, you're too close to this. Let us handle it," Chief Dale said, his tone low but firm. Snowflakes settled on his uniform cap as he surveyed the scene, eyes darting between Anna and the wounded horse. "I need you to let the paramedics do their job." Anna's breath hitched. She tightened her grip on Ghost's bridle, feeling his hot breath fog against her sleeve. "He's the only one who knows where Lily is. Look at this." She thrust the pink mitten into Dale's gloved hand. "She's gone. Ghost showed up with this tangled in his mane. He led me to the edge of the woods. Please, Chief, you know me. I won't just stand here." Dale's gaze softened, but only for a moment. "Anna, you're not thinking straight. You're exhausted. I'm her mother," Anna cut in, voice sharp as shattered ice. I know Lily. She wouldn't run off. Ghost is here for a reason. He fought to get to me. Look at his wounds. He's not just hurt. He's been attacked. Someone did this. Dale glanced at the horse, at the deep, fresh lacerations on his shoulder and flank, and the clotted blood along his side. Fine, but let the paramedics check him out. If you're going to search, you do it with backup, not alone. A paramedic, a woman with dark eyes and steady hands, approached with gauze and antiseptic. Ghost's ears pinned back, but Anna stroked his muzzle. Easy, boy, easy. You're safe now. Let them help, just for a minute. Ghost stood trembling, muscles taut, but allowed the woman to clean the worst of his wounds. Anna watched, fists clenched, every second stretching like an eternity. Inside the makeshift stable the police had set up beside her cabin, Anna and the paramedics led Ghost under the glaring lights. The air was thick with the scent of iodine and fear. Anna hovered, refusing to let him out of her sight, even as officers swept the perimeter and search dogs barked restlessly. Suddenly, Ghost's head snapped up. He sniffed the mitten Anna still held, nostrils flaring. A low, urgent whinny rumbled in his chest. He pawed anxiously at the stable door, eyes fixed on the woods beyond. "See?" Anna said, voice hoarse with desperation. "He knows something. He wants to go." Dale's patience was running thin. "We're going to search, Anna, but you need to let us do our job. Let us handle the dog teams." But Anna was already moving. She pressed the mitten to Ghost's nose and he inhaled deeply, a shiver running through his massive frame. In that moment, Anna saw something click behind his eyes. Recognition, urgency, almost a plea for her to trust him. "Let me go with him, Chief, please. Just give me an hour. I was a Marine. I know these woods better than anyone." Dale hesitated, jaw clenched. But before he could answer, Ghost reared slightly, pawing at the ground, eyes wild and insistent. Anna caught the bridle, her own instincts, honed by years of patrols, of searching for lost men in hostile lands, kicking in. She glanced over her shoulder at Dale. "If you try to stop me, I'll just do it alone." "Damn it, Anna," Dale muttered, rubbing a gloved hand across his forehead. "Don't make me arrest you." "Then you better look the other way," she said, already moving. In the confusion, as officers argued about protocols and paramedics tended to the wounded horse, Anna seized her chance. She unlatched the stall gate, and with a whispered promise to Ghost, led him out the back. The world was suddenly silent, the commotion fading as they crossed into the deep, untracked snow behind the cabin. Anna's boots crunched as she plunged into the forest. Ghost limping beside her but pushing onward, driven by something deeper than pain. The trees pressed in, silent witnesses to their desperation. Anna felt her pulse pounding, old instincts flaring to life. She'd learned to track in sand and dust, but the snow was a new challenge. Every step could be a clue, or a trap. Dawn broke slowly, the sky bleeding pale gold between the pines. Anna moved in a half-crouch, scanning for broken branches, scraps of fabric, or any sign of Lily's passage. Ghost snuffled along the ground, pausing occasionally to glance at Anna as if reassuring her they were on the right path. Somewhere behind them, the distant shouts of the search party faded into the cold. Anna's breath came in ragged bursts as she recalled every warning she'd ever heard. Never search alone. Never leave the main trails. Always wait for backup. But she pushed those thoughts away. This was her daughter. This was her mission. They reached a small clearing. The snow churned and trampled. Ghost stopped short, ears swiveling, body tense. Anna knelt, searching for evidence. There, a splash of blood, not fresh but not yet brown. And Anna's heart leapt. Tiny boot prints, Lily's. The relief nearly buckled Anna's knees. She was here. You found her, Ghost. She pressed her forehead to the horse's mane, feeling tears sting her eyes. But then she noticed something else. Drag marks, as if Lily had slipped or been pulled. Ghost pawed the ground, whinnying anxiously. A cold dread settled over Anna. This wasn't just a missing child case. Someone, something, had taken her daughter, and Ghost had fought them off. Anna's mind spun back to the horse's wounds. She reached out, feeling along his side, searching for anything that might help her piece the puzzle together. Her fingers brushed a patch of sticky blood, and beneath it, a deep gash, too clean, too deliberate. Not a branch, not a fall, a knife maybe, human hands. She shuddered, rage and terror warring inside her. Who would hurt a horse like this? Who would take a child from her bed and disappear into the snow? Anna pressed her hand to Ghost's warm neck. "We're going to find her," she whispered fiercely. "You and me, together." Ghost nudged her gently, as if to say he understood. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the trees, a branch snapping underfoot. Anna froze, instincts on high alert. She dropped low, peering through the undergrowth. Nothing moved. Was it just an animal, or something more sinister? She glanced at Ghost. His ears were pinned back, body quivering with tension. Anna's marine training surged to the surface. She scanned for threats, calculated the next move. There was no turning back. With Ghost leading the way, Anna plunged deeper into the forest. Every step was a risk, but every second counted. She had no intention of waiting for backup. The search teams would find the clearing soon enough, but Anna trusted no one but herself, and the wounded stallion by her side. They moved as one, survivor and survivor, soldier and warhorse, both shaped by scars and loss. The world behind them faded. All that mattered was the path ahead, and the hope that somehow Lily was still alive. As the forest closed in, Anna felt her fear melt into determination. Ghost pressed on, leaving a trail of blood in the snow, unwavering. Anna's courage, long dormant, rose with every step. No matter what waited for them in the heart of the woods, Anna vowed she would not fail her daughter. Not this time. Anna moved deeper into the forest, following Ghost's halting stride as icy branches whipped at her cheeks, and a pale morning sun struggled to break through the dense tangle of pine. The silence pressed in, broken only by the crunch of her boots and the horse's labored breathing. The further they traveled, the farther Anna felt from the life she'd built in Pine Brook. Each step pulling her back into a world she'd tried so hard to leave behind. Ghost limped ahead, nostrils flaring as he traced an invisible trail through the undergrowth. His once brilliant white coat was smeared with blood and mud, muscles trembling with exhaustion and resolve. Anna's eyes darted to every broken twig, every crimson fleck on the snow, each one a potential clue or warning. With every sign she saw, her mind spiraled. Was Lily close? Was she alone? Had she been scared, cold, or hurt? A sudden memory seized Anna. A different forest. Half a world away, she was in Afghanistan again, leading her unit down a ravine at dawn, the world silent except for the distant crackle of radio static and the anxious breathing of her men. The memory was so vivid Anna nearly stumbled. She blinked hard, grounding herself back in Pine Brook's frozen woods. The fear she'd carried then was the same she felt now, but the stakes felt even higher. There was no protocol, no backup, no chain of command, just a mother and a battered horse, moving on hope and instinct. A raven flapped overhead, its call echoing through the trees. Anna startled, then forced herself to focus. Ghost halted suddenly, head lowered, ears flicking toward something hidden beneath a snow-laden branch. Anna crouched beside him and gently brushed away the powdery white. Her heart leapt into her throat. A mitten, blue this time, smaller and newer than the pink one she'd found earlier. There were tiny hoof prints all around it, delicate and unmistakable. Anna pressed her gloved fingers to the mitten, closing her eyes against a rush of guilt and longing. She remembered tucking Lily into bed the night before, her daughter clutching a stuffed foal and murmuring, "Mommy, will Ghost ever come back?" Anna had smiled, smoothing her daughter's hair, whispering, "He's safe, honey. He'll always be with us in spirit." Now, with Lily missing and Ghost here, battered and bloody, Anna's words felt hollow. Anna's hands shook as she tucked the mitten into her pocket. Ghost pressed close to her side, his massive head nudging her shoulder. She felt his shiver and realized it wasn't just cold. He was afraid. Ghost's body language, usually so stoic, was tense and jumpy. Loud noises, the sudden snap of branches, even the shifting shadows made him flinch. Anna understood that fear. She carried it in her bones, a legacy of every sleepless night and every mission gone sideways. For a moment, Anna let herself crumble. What if she wasn't strong enough? What if all her years in the military, all her training, meant nothing in the face of a mother's worst nightmare? She had left the Marines to be a better parent, to protect Lily from the chaos and danger she'd known. Now, in the snow-choked silence, she wondered if she'd failed. A cold wind whistled through the branches. Anna huddled beside Ghost, the two of them sharing their warmth, the weight of their wounds, their shared fear. Ghost turned, licking her hand, his brown eyes filled with something like understanding. Anna let herself draw strength from the moment, feeling the battered horse's heartbeat beneath her palm. She examined Ghost's wounds more closely. Some were fresh, angry slashes, but others were old, faded scars layered across his flanks, ridges of pain and memory etched into his skin. She thought about what Ghost must have endured. Years of chasing criminals, running headlong into danger, obeying orders without hesitation or complaint. Now, he was all she had. And maybe, she realized, she was all he had left, too. They moved on, following the trail of broken branches and muddy prints. Anna's body ached with fatigue, but she pushed it aside. She counted her breaths, focused on the simple rhythm of tracking. Observe, deduce, move forward. In places, crimson drops marked the snow, proof that Ghost's wounds were reopening. Still, he pressed forward, driven by a force Anna could almost feel. Suddenly Ghost froze, ears swiveling. Anna dropped behind a fallen log, heart hammering. Ahead she spotted a scrap of fabric, Lily's jacket, snagged on a branch. A fresh wave of hope surged through her. The pattern was unmistakable, something Lily had begged her to buy last fall, bright blue with tiny embroidered horses. Anna's eyes burned as she carefully untangled it. The ground nearby was disturbed. The snow churned and pocked with hoofprints, both large and small. Anna examined the area, fighting back tears. Lily and Ghost had been together, and not long ago. Her daughter must have clung to the stallion, the two of them struggling through the forest. Anna's chest tightened as she imagined her daughter's fear, but also her determination, the same stubborn streak Anna recognized in herself. A wave of guilt crashed over Anna, heavier than anything she'd carried overseas. Had she been too hard on Lily? Had she missed the signs, been too wrapped up in her own pain? What if she wasn't enough? What if her choices had put her daughter in danger? As if sensing her despair, Ghost turned and gently licked Anna's hand. She closed her eyes, letting the gesture anchor her. She remembered something her therapist had once told her. Trauma isn't just about what breaks you. It's about what you do with the broken pieces. Anna squeezed Ghost's muzzle, feeling the tremor of his trust, his belief in her. They stayed there for a moment, Anna resting her forehead against Ghost's battered shoulder, breathing together. It was a silent promise. They would find Lily, not just as horse and rider, but as fellow survivors, each healing the other with every step. Finally, Anna rose, new resolve burning in her chest. She scanned the woods, eyes sharp, senses open to every sound and scent. The world was still a cold, dangerous place, but she wasn't alone. She had Ghost. And for the first time since the nightmare began, she dared to believe they might have a chance. Together, they pressed onward into the tangled, frozen forest, searching for the next clue, the next sign of hope, determined to bring Lily home, no matter what darkness they had to face. Night crept into the forest, turning the trees into a maze of shifting shadows and silver frost. Anna and Ghost found shelter beneath a thicket of spruce, their only company the low moan of the wind and the creak of ancient branches. Anna gathered pine needles and broken limbs for a fire, her numb fingers fumbling with the lighter she always carried in her pocket. A habit from her years in the Marines, the flame sputtered to life, casting a feeble glow over the snow-packed clearing. Anna knelt beside Ghost, his flank trembling with cold and pain, fresh blood streaking his white coat in the flickering light. She unpacked her first aid kit, hands moving with a practiced steadiness she didn't feel. Every time the fire popped or cracked, Ghost flinched, eyes wide with memory and fear. Anna whispered, "I know, boy. I hate the sound too." She cleaned his wounds as best she could, wrapping the worst with bandages torn from her undershirt. Ghost stood rigid, nostrils flaring, his breath steaming in the dark. Anna spoke softly, telling him about Afghanistan, about the friends she'd tried to save and the ones she couldn't. "Sometimes I think I left a part of myself out there. Maybe I'm just not meant to save anyone." The confession fell into the night, weighty and raw. She looked at Ghost, expecting nothing, but he surprised her. He leaned in, his heavy head pressing against her shoulder, a silent comfort she hadn't known she needed. Anna blinked back tears, the world suddenly smaller, just her and this broken horse huddled around a flickering fire. She dug into her pocket, fingers closing around something rough. She pulled out the blue mitten she'd found earlier, Lily's mitten. Turning it over, she noticed a lump in the seam. Anna's heart pounded as she tugged at the stitching with her knife. Out slipped a folded scrap of paper, edges worn, covered in a childish scrawl. "If you find this, I'm trying to stay safe. Ghost is with me. Don't let anyone see us. Love you, Mommy." Anna's breath caught. Lily had left her a message, a clue, a cry for help, and a promise all in one. Tears slid down Anna's cheeks, warm against the night air. She clutched the mitten and note to her chest, her grief mixing with a fierce new hope. She looked at Ghost. "She's alive. She's smart. Smarter than I ever gave her credit for." The horse nickered softly, settling beside her, his warmth radiating through her fatigue and fear. As the wind picked up, Anna poked at the fire, the flames licking the cold. She let herself think, really think, about the way trauma snaked through her life, shaping every choice, every fear. She saw it now, reflected in Ghost's every flinch, every panicked breath. Years of service had taught her to hide her scars, but in the dark woods, with nothing but a horse and the memory of her daughter's voice, Anna finally let herself feel the weight. She remembered the day she brought Lily home from the hospital, the tiny bundle of hope and terror cradled in her arms. She remembered sleepless nights, pacing the floor, humming lullabies she barely remembered, and vowing, always vowing, that Lily would never feel alone in the dark. Now, the promise echoed back at her, hollow and accusing. She'd tried to protect her daughter from her own ghosts, but maybe she'd only taught Lily to run from shadows instead of facing them. The fire dwindled to embers. Anna rolled up beside Ghost, draping her jacket across his withers. The two of them pressed close against the cold. "We'll find her," she promised, voice raw. "We have to." A sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it a sound that froze Anna's blood, a faint, high-pitched voice calling through the night. Anna sat bolt upright, straining to hear. Ghost's ears pricked forward, muscles taut, every sense alive with hope and fear. "Lily?" Anna called, her voice barely more than a whisper. She waited, heart hammering, but the voice didn't come again. Ghost snorted and shifted, eyes bright in the firelight. His body tensed as if ready to spring into motion. Anna forced herself to stay put. She'd learned long ago the dangers of rushing blindly toward hope. Too often it was a trap. She stroked Ghost's mane, whispering, "Not yet. At first light we move. She's close. I can feel it." She let herself drift, exhaustion tugging her down. In her dreams, she saw Lily running through the snow, Ghost beside her, the two of them laughing as they darted between trees. Then the dream shifted. She was back on patrol, gunfire rattling the mountains, friends screaming for help. She tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move, her voice stuck in her throat. She woke with a start, sweat freezing on her skin, the embers of the fire painting long shadows across the snow. Ghost nudged her awake, snorting softly. Anna sat up, rubbing her eyes, forcing herself to remember where she was, what mattered. She looked at Ghost, then at the note in her hand. Lily was out there, scared but fighting, just as Anna had always hoped she would. As dawn crept over the trees, Anna packed up their meager camp, her resolve hardening. Every scar, every failure, every shadow, she'd carry them all if it meant finding her daughter. She pressed her face to Ghost's warm neck, breathing in the mingled scents of sweat and pine. "Let's go find her," she said. They set off into the gray light, the world silent except for the crunch of snow and Ghost's uneven hoofbeats. Anna moved with purpose, scanning every branch, every patch of disturbed earth, every flicker of color that might mean hope. The night had been long, but the promise of day pulled her forward, the belief that love, however battered and broken, could light the darkest woods. As they disappeared into the shadows, Anna realized that her greatest strength wasn't the training or the scars, but her refusal to give up. The forest might have been full of ghosts, but Anna wasn't running from them anymore. She was hunting them, determined to bring her daughter home, no matter what it took. Dawn bled slow and cold through the trees, streaking the snow with bands of gold and blue. Anna moved briskly, her eyes narrowed against the glare as she followed Ghost through the tightening maze of pines. Every muscle in her body ached from a night spent shivering beside the dying fire. But the hope in her chest kept her upright, a hope that burned fiercer than exhaustion or fear. Ghost seemed revived by the promise of morning, his stride quickening despite his wounds. He snorted at every shifting shadow, his tail swishing with nerves as he led Anna across an old game trail. They reached a rocky outcrop, the kind Anna remembered from childhood hikes with her father, hidden places where deer bedded down or foxes dug their burrows. It was here Ghost slowed, nostrils flaring, ears pricked to the west. Anna crouched low, scanning the terrain. There, half buried in the snow, a small blue scarf. Lily's. Anna's fingers trembled as she lifted it, the fabric still warm from a child's neck. Her relief gave way to a sharp rush of anger. Someone had been through here. Someone was hiding her child. Ghost pressed ahead, his body suddenly tense and alert. Anna followed him up a narrow path choked with thornbush and bramble, each footstep careful and silent. The air felt different, heavier, tinged with wood smoke and something sour. Anna's hand found her pocket knife, her thumb pressing against the worn handle. She remembered Afghanistan, moving house to house, fear thick as syrup in her throat. The forest broke open to a clearing, and Anna's heart stuttered. A small ranger's cabin stood at the far side, almost invisible under a thick coat of snow. Smoke curled from the chimney. Anna ducked behind a cluster of shrubs, eyes scanning for movement. Ghost nickered softly, pawing at the ground, nostrils quivering. Anna crept closer, every sense screaming. She heard voices, 2, maybe 3, muffled by the thick log walls. A low, familiar rumble, and a higher, frightened whisper. Anna's stomach clenched. Lily. She knew her daughter's voice anywhere. Ghost's muscles bunched beneath his battered coat, but he waited for Anna's cue. Anna crawled up to a window, heart pounding so hard she thought it would give her away. Peering inside, she spotted Lily, wrapped in a blanket on a worn sofa. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she looked unhurt. Across from Lily stood Dr. Lewis, Pine Brook's trusted veterinarian, the same man who'd tended Ghost after his retirement, who'd laughed at Anna's corny jokes and snuck Lily candy when she'd visited his clinic. Now he was pacing, his face twisted in worry and something darker Anna couldn't name. Dr. Lewis spoke softly to Lily. "It's going to be okay, sweetheart. I promise. Just stay quiet. We're almost done." Anna's blood turned to ice. She caught movement at the door, another figure, tall, face hidden beneath a hood. Anna realized with a sick certainty that this was no simple misunderstanding. Lily hadn't run away. She'd been taken. And Lewis, kind, gentle Dr. Lewis, was a part of it. Anna's mind raced. Torn between relief and betrayal, she pressed herself flat against the wall, struggling to control her breathing. Ghost shifted beside her, his body trembling with a mixture of fear and fury. Suddenly, Lewis spun toward the window. Anna ducked, heart pounding. For a moment, she thought she'd been seen. Ghost let out a soft, warning nicker. Anna risked another glance. Lewis turned back to Lily, crouching beside her. He pulled something from his coat. A syringe. "Just a little medicine to keep you calm," he said gently. Anna's instincts screamed. She bolted upright, rushing to the front of the cabin, her feet crunching through the crusted snow. The door burst open before she could reach it. Lewis stood there, gun in hand, his eyes wild. "Don't move, Anna," he barked. "Back away." Anna froze, arms spread. "You don't have to do this, Lewis. Let Lily go. No one has to get hurt." He shook his head, voice trembling. "You don't understand. They're coming. I just wanted to keep her safe. But now you're making this harder than it has to be." Behind Lewis, the hooded figure moved toward Lily, but Ghost surged forward, rearing up with a furious scream. The sudden movement startled everyone. Lewis turned, gun wavering, as Ghost crashed into him, sending both man and weapon sprawling into the snow. Anna darted inside, seizing Lily in a fierce embrace. "Mom!" Lily sobbed, clutching Anna's jacket. "I was so scared. I tried to run." "It's okay, baby. I'm here." Anna pulled her daughter behind her, shielding her with her body. The hooded accomplice lunged, but Ghost wheeled, his hooves slicing the air. The figure recoiled, tripping over a chair and crashing to the floor. Louis scrambled to his feet, gun pointed at Anna. His hand shook. "You don't know what they promised me, what they threatened. I didn't want to hurt anyone." Anna met his gaze, voice shaking with rage. "You took my child. You hurt Ghost. That's all I need to know." Louis's eyes flicked to the horse, then to Anna, then to Lily. For a split second he faltered. That was all Ghost needed. He lunged again, slamming his weight into Louis's chest. The gun went flying, skittering across the floor. Anna kicked it away, then grabbed Louis's arm, twisting it behind his back as he collapsed to his knees. The accomplice staggered up, but Anna leveled the gun at them. "Stay down," she snapped, her voice cold as the snow outside. Lily clung to Anna, sobbing. Ghost blocked the door, battered but unyielding, his breath billowing in great white clouds. The adrenaline made Anna's hands shake, but her focus was laser-sharp. She scanned the room. No one else, no more immediate threats. Anna yanked Louis upright, shoving him into a chair. "You're going to tell the police everything. You're going to tell them who you're working for, and why you thought it was okay to kidnap a child." Louis crumbled, his bravado gone. "It's bigger than you know. They threatened my family. Please." Anna shook her head. "Save it for the cops." She pulled Lily close, the girl's small body trembling against her chest. Ghost pressed his muzzle to Lily's hair, snorting softly. Relief flooded Anna so sharply it hurt. The distant wail of sirens drifted through the woods. Anna exhaled, sinking to the floor with Lily in her arms, Ghost standing guard at their side. For the first time since the nightmare began, Anna let herself believe it might end, if only for a moment. She looked at Ghost, meeting his battered, wise gaze. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded, as if he understood. Outside, the world was still and bright, but inside the tiny cabin, the storm had broken, and Anna, Lily, and Ghost had survived. The walls of the ranger's cabin still echoed with chaos as Anna clutched Lily tight, her breath coming in ragged bursts. For one impossible moment, it was over. Her daughter safe, Ghost standing tall beside them, the weight of the past 24 hours easing just enough for Anna to feel her own hands shaking. But outside, the world was far from safe. Anna heard movement, hurried, stealthy, not the steady march of law enforcement. Fear pulsed through her veins, faster than her heartbeat. "Mommy, are we leaving?" Lily's voice quivered against Anna's chest. "Yes, honey, right now." Anna's marine instincts took over. She scanned the small cabin for supplies, snatching up a wool blanket, a flashlight, and an old first aid kit from a dusty shelf. She pressed the blanket into Lily's hands and stuffed the rest into her pack. "Stick close to me. Don't let go." Ghost pressed his nose to Lily's shoulder, as if promising her that he'd protect her too. Anna looked at him, battered, bleeding but determined, and nodded. She cracked the door and peered outside. The woods were thick and silent, the only light the gray wash of a winter dawn and the thin glow of the flashlight. In the distance, Anna heard a man's voice, a shout, then a curse, and the snap of undergrowth. Dr. Louis, bruised and defeated, still slumped in the chair, but the hooded accomplice was gone. Anna's pulse spiked as she realized the threat wasn't over. She grabbed Lily's hand, whispered, "Let's move," and eased Ghost out into the snow. They skirted the side of the cabin, keeping low, the trees swallowing their footsteps. Behind them, a sudden gunshot shattered the silence. Anna threw herself and Lily flat, the bullet splintering a tree inches from their heads. Ghost wheeled, planting himself between the family and the cabin, his body an unbreakable wall. Anna's combat training surged to the surface. Adrenaline, muscle memory, calculation. "Run!" she hissed, shoving Lily ahead, not daring to look back. Ghost fell in behind them, hooves churning up powder, breath a thunder in the morning cold. They plunged into the trees, dodging roots and ducking under low branches, Anna's mind racing with every escape route she'd mapped as a child. Lily stumbled, her little legs no match for Anna's desperate speed. Anna swept her up, her muscles burning as she carried her daughter, Ghost, close at her heels. The forest was a labyrinth, the paths twisting, the snow masking any clear way forward. Anna zigzagged, changing direction every few yards, making it harder for anyone to track them. Still, the voices came. Closer now. Two men's harsh shouts and the clatter of boots. Anna stumbled over a fallen log and dropped to one knee, clutching Lily close as a wave of panic threatened to overwhelm her. Her mind flashed. Gunfire in the mountains, the scream of wounded soldiers, the helplessness she'd sworn she'd never feel again. The terror nearly paralyzed her, but Lily's terrified sobs snapped her back to reality. She forced herself up, whispering, "It's okay, sweetheart. We're almost safe." Ghost nosed her back to her feet, his muzzle warm and insistent. He pressed ahead, taking the lead, moving with purpose despite his wounds. Anna saw it then. He wasn't just a survivor. He was a protector, wounded but undaunted. They reached a frozen creek, its surface dusted with snow. Anna hesitated, scanning for thin ice. "Ghost, can you make it?" she whispered. The stallion stepped forward, testing the surface with his hoof before leading the way across. Anna held Lily tight and followed, her boots slipping, every muscle tense. A gunshot rang out, echoing through the trees. Ghost jerked, a fresh line of blood blooming on his shoulder. He stumbled but didn't fall, his determination radiating like heat. Lily cried out. Anna's breath caught. She wanted to scream, to turn and fight, but instinct told her to keep moving. The far bank loomed, thick with brush. Anna crashed through it, Lily in her arms, Ghost close behind. She ducked them all into the shadow of a fallen tree, hearts pounding in the hush. Ghost dropped beside them, shuddering, his eyes wild with pain but refusing to collapse. Anna rifled through the first aid kit, hands shaking as she tried to staunch the bleeding on Ghost's shoulder. Her fingers worked mechanically, voice trembling as she whispered, "Stay with me, boy. You can do this. You've already saved us once." Lily sobbed, pressing her face into Anna's coat. "Why are they chasing us? Why do they want Ghost?" Anna met her daughter's gaze, fighting tears. "Because he's brave, just like you. And sometimes, bad people want to hurt what's good, because it scares them." A snap of branches made Anna freeze. The voices were closer, tracking them through the woods. Anna's mind whirled, piecing together every clue. Then, a memory hit her like a slap. Dr. Lewis had insisted on routine checkups for Ghost after his police service, always insisting on scans and blood work. She hadn't thought much of it then, but now, staring at Ghost's ragged side, it clicked. She pressed her fingers along Ghost's neck and shoulder, searching for something hard, something foreign. There, under the skin at the base of his neck, she felt it. A tiny, hard lump, a microchip. Anna's gut twisted with realization. "They're tracking us," she whispered. "Ghost, they put a chip in you." She dug into her pack, pulling out her multi-tool, hands icy with fear and urgency. "I'm so sorry, boy. This is going to hurt." She worked fast, slicing into the skin and fishing out the tiny, blood-smeared device, tossing it into the creek. Ghost didn't flinch. He just leaned into Anna, trusting her even through the pain, A distant voice roared with frustration. Anna risked a look over the log. Lewis's accomplice was pacing the creek's edge, gun in hand, scanning for signs of movement. Anna pressed Lily low into the snow. "We have to keep going, baby. Can you run?" Lily nodded, cheeks streaked with tears but eyes fierce. With Ghost limping but undeterred, they slipped deeper into the forest, Anna choosing the roughest, most tangled terrain. Every step was agony. Her lungs burned, her thighs ached, her mind a whirlwind of terror and resolve. But she would not stop. Not while Lily and Ghost needed her. As the morning brightened, Anna heard the distant wail of police sirens, hope piercing the panic like sunlight through storm clouds. She pushed onward, driven by memory and love, by the unspoken promise she'd made to her daughter and this brave horse. They burst from the woods into another clearing, gasping for breath, hearts pounding. Anna dropped to her knees, arms wrapped tight around Lily, Ghost hovering over them both. For a moment, there was only silence, the cold, clear hush of survival. Anna pressed her forehead to Ghost's, tears mingling with sweat and blood. "We're still here," she whispered, "and we're not giving up." Far off, voices echoed through the trees, pursuers closing in, but so was help. Anna looked at Lily, at Ghost, and found a well of courage deeper than any she'd ever known. "Let's keep moving," she said. "We're almost free." Together, battered but unbroken, they vanished into the forest. 3 survivors, bound by fear, hope, and the unbreakable will to live. Snow flurries swirled through the dawn-lit woods as Anna, Lily, and Ghost pressed on, breaths sharp in the cold air. Their flight had become a blur of broken branches, desperate whispers, and the constant fear of pursuit. Anna's boots left frantic tracks behind, but every time she glanced back, she saw nothing, only the shadows stretching between ancient trees. Ghost limped at her side, his loyalty burning brighter than any pain. Lily's small hand gripped Anna's, her eyes wide and haunted, but shining with stubborn hope. Somewhere far off, sirens faded in and out. But Anna knew the danger was still close. The gunman, Lewis's accomplice, wasn't giving up. Anna's mind raced with the memory of the microchip she'd just torn from Ghost's neck. They were no longer being tracked by electronics, but footprints and intuition were just as deadly in these woods. Anna needed a plan, a way to turn the hunt against their pursuer. Ghost nudged Anna with his nose, drawing her attention to a frozen creek winding through the trees. The water moved sluggishly beneath a thin sheet of ice. Anna scanned the landscape, looking for an advantage. The forest here was thick and tangled, the ground treacherous with brambles and fallen logs, difficult terrain for anyone in pursuit. An idea sparked in her mind. She led Lily and Ghost to a stand of evergreens, their dense branches forming a near-perfect hiding place. "Stay here," Anna whispered, pressing a kiss to Lily's forehead. "No matter what happens, don't make a sound. Ghost will protect you." Lily nodded, tears brimming but brave. Anna moved quickly, doubling back toward the creek, her own footprints clear in the fresh snow. She circled wide, snapping branches and dragging her boot to make the trail obvious. Near the water's edge, she pulled the bloodied microchip from her pocket and set it beside a half-buried stone. She picked up a long branch, dragging it behind her as she crossed the ice, then doubled back, covering her own tracks with careful sweeps. Her hands trembled with cold and adrenaline, her mind spinning with every risk. As she returned to Lily and Ghost, she heard footsteps crunching through the snow. Heavy, hurried, careless. Anna's stomach knotted. The gunman was close, tracking the trail she'd so carefully left. Anna whispered to Ghost, "Stay with her. If I don't come back, get Lily to safety." Ghost snorted softly, nuzzling Anna's shoulder, as if promising he would. Anna pressed herself behind a tree just yards from the creek, heart hammering. Through the branches, she saw the gunman, Lewis's accomplice, creep into view. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his face hidden beneath a hood and scarf. He knelt beside the stone, snatching up the microchip and cursing under his breath. He pulled out his phone, staring at the device, not realizing he was exposed. Anna's breath caught. She recognized him now. Eddie Carter, a local ranch hand she'd hired for odd jobs years ago. He must have been working with Lewis, using his knowledge of the terrain to help them. Anna's anger burned white-hot. She waited, holding her breath, as Eddie scanned the creek. Frustration flashed across his face. He realized, too late, the trap had sprung. Anna burst from her hiding spot. Grabbing a thick branch, she swung hard, catching Eddie behind the knees. He toppled, gun skittering across the ice. Anna dove for it, but Eddie lunged, grabbing her ankle and yanking her downtown. The world spun in a blur of snow and panic. "Where's the kid, Anna?" Eddie snarled, pinning her with his weight. "Tell me, and maybe I'll let you walk away." Anna twisted, teeth clenched. "You'll never find her." She kicked out, catching Eddie in the ribs. He grunted, rolling to one side. Anna scrambled up, snatching the gun and pointing it at his chest. "Don't move," she said, voice icy. Eddie stared at her, breathing hard, hatred burning in his eyes. Ghost crashed through the undergrowth, Lily clinging to his mane. The stallion reared, planting himself between Anna and Eddie, nostrils flaring, eyes wild. For a moment, all sound vanished. The only movement, Ghost's massive body blocking the threat. Eddie rose slowly, hands up, but his gaze flicked to Anna's pistol. He lunged, grabbing for it, but Ghost struck with a front hoof, knocking him backward into the snow. Anna pounced, pressing the gun to his neck. "It's over, Eddie. The police are coming. You're done." Eddie spat blood into the snow, his bravado slipping. "You don't know who you're messing with. This is bigger than me, than Lewis. You think the cops can protect you?" Anna's hands shook, but she kept the gun steady. "Try me." Eddie looked at her, saw the resolve in her eyes, and seemed to wilt. "We were just supposed to take the horse, get him out of town. No one said anything about a kid until Lewis panicked." Anna's stomach twisted, thinking of Lewis, his kindness, his fear, all a mask. "Why? Why Ghost?" Eddie's eyes flicked to the horse. "He's worth a fortune. Some rich collector, black market stuff. Animal traffickers. Lewis owed money. He got in too deep. Said it'd be easy. Just a horse, he said. Didn't count on you." A distant shout split the cold. A new voice, confident, authoritative. Anna recognized it. Chief Dale. Police lights flickered through the trees, and heavy boots crunched closer. Eddie's face crumpled. Chief Dale appeared, flanked by 2 officers, pistols drawn. "Drop it, Anna," he ordered, voice calm but firm. Anna set the gun down, raising her hands. "He's the one. Eddie Carter, and Lewis is in the cabin." Dale nodded, signaling his men. One cuffed Eddie, dragging him away, while the other checked Anna and Lily for injuries. Anna hugged Lily fiercely, trembling as the adrenaline finally faded. Ghost pressed close, his warm breath grounding them both. Chief Dale knelt beside Anna. "You saved her, and the horse, and you might have cracked something bigger. There's a ring working the whole region. You just led us right to them." Anna let herself breathe. The danger was over for now. She pressed her face to Ghost's mane, feeling the stallion's heart thunder in his chest. Lily looked up at Anna, tears drying on her cheeks. "You were so brave, Mommy." Ghost was, too. Anna smiled, stroking her daughter's hair. I was scared the whole time, but I had you and Ghost to fight for. That's all I needed. The police led Eddie away, and the woods grew quiet again. Anna looked at Ghost, battered, bleeding, but alive. She whispered, "Thank you for everything." Ghost whickered softly, lowering his head to Lily's hand. In the brightening dawn, Anna knew they'd survived more than a night in the woods. They'd survived their own fears, their own scars, and a darkness that could have swallowed them whole. But together, they'd brought each other back into the light. The world outside the forest seemed to move in slow motion as Anna, Lily, and Ghost were shepherded to safety. The commotion of police radios, the crisp voices of first responders, and the glare of ambulance lights all blurred around Anna as she wrapped Lily in her arms and buried her face in her daughter's tangled hair. She could hardly believe it. After the horror, the panic, and the bitter cold, Lily was alive. They had survived. A paramedic approached, his gloved hands gentle as he coaxed Anna and Lily toward the warmth of a waiting ambulance. Anna hesitated, glancing back at Ghost, who stood shivering and bloodied at the forest's edge, snow melting against his feverish skin. He'd given everything for them. Anna's heart broke to leave him, even for a moment. "Please," she said, her voice ragged, "let me stay with the horse. He saved us." The paramedic nodded. "We'll bring the vet in. But you and your daughter need to be checked out first. You're safe now. We'll take care of him." But Anna refused to be separated. She gripped Lily's hand and, with stubborn defiance, marched beside Ghost as the emergency team set up a makeshift tent to shield him from the wind. Lily clung to Anna, cheeks flushed from the cold and the tears. "Will Ghost be okay?" she whispered. Anna crouched, pressing her forehead to Lily's. "He's a fighter, honey. He didn't come all this way just to give up now." Within minutes, Dr. Parker, the town's other veterinarian, arrived with a team, hurrying through the snow with medical supplies and worried expressions. Anna helped hold Ghost steady as Parker assessed the wounds, his hands quick and competent. Ghost flinched at every touch, but didn't pull away. Anna stroked his nose, whispering soft encouragements, watching the gentle rise and fall of his chest. "He's lost a lot of blood, but his heart is strong," Dr. Parker said at last. "We'll get him stabilized and prep him for surgery. Anna, he needs you calm right now. He trusts you." Anna nodded, pushing down her terror. For the first time, she allowed herself to cry, not the frantic, silent sobs of fear or guilt, but the shaking, messy tears of relief. Lily wrapped her arms around Anna's waist, whispering, "You're my hero, Mom. You and Ghost both." Anna held Lily close, the weight of the ordeal crashing over her. All the helplessness, the guilt, and the fear poured out. Her body shook with it, but she didn't turn away. She let herself feel it, every loss, every scar, every miracle. Ghost pressed his head into Anna's lap, his eyes closing as if he, too, could finally rest. The police worked through the chaos, rounding up Lewis and Eddie and their accomplices, piecing together a web of criminal activity stretching far beyond Pine Brook. Chief Dale approached Anna where she sat, exhaustion painting dark circles under his eyes. "I'm sorry, Anna," he said quietly, "for doubting you, for letting it get this far. You did what none of us could. You saved her. You saved them both." Anna shook her head. "I almost lost her. I let my guard down." Dale put a hand on her shoulder. "You never let up. That's why she's here. That's why we all are. We'll get them the help they need, and the town's already talking. What you did out there. People are calling Ghost a hero. Donations for animal rescue are pouring in. Folks are asking how they can help." Lily's eyes widened. "Ghost is famous?" Anna managed a teary laugh. He's always been a hero, sweetie. People just finally noticed. Dr. Parker's team loaded Ghost onto a special stretcher, gently lifting him into the back of a livestock ambulance. Anna climbed in after him, refusing to let go of his head. Lily sat on her lap, her small hands tangled in Ghost's mane. As the ambulance rumbled away, Anna watched the landscape pass by, her mind swirling with exhaustion and hope. Ghost's breathing was slow but steady, his eyes fluttering open every so often as Anna whispered reassurances. At the hospital, Anna and Lily were ushered through a blur of examination rooms, IVs, and gentle questions. Anna barely remembered any of it. Her mind was on Ghost. When a nurse finally announced he'd come through surgery, Anna nearly collapsed with relief. She hurried to Ghost's recovery stall, Lily trailing at her side. The big horse lay blanketed and bandaged, but when Anna called his name, he raised his head, ears flicking in recognition. Anna knelt beside him, tears starting anew. "You brought us home," she whispered. "You did it." Chief Dale visited again, this time with reporters and a handful of townspeople bearing flowers and cards. News of Ghost's bravery and Anna's spread across Pine Brook like wildfire. Messages poured in from strangers, old friends, even national animal rescue organizations. Offers of help, money, even new homes for rescued service horses flooded Anna's inbox. As the town buzzed with the story, Anna felt a strange peace settle over her. For the first time in years, she wasn't hiding from her trauma, her past, or her neighbors. She'd fought through the darkest night of her life and found light on the other side. A week later, Anna was called to a special town hall meeting. The mayor presented her and Lily with a plaque honoring their courage. But the real ceremony was for Ghost. A banner reading "Welcome Home Hero" hung over the stage. Children held up homemade signs, and even the local news covered the event live. Dr. Parker wheeled Ghost onto the stage, his mane brushed and his wounds healing. Anna took the microphone, her voice shaking with emotion. "This horse saved my family. He saved me. I think he's saved a lot of us, in ways we'll be reckoning with for a long time. I hope his story reminds us that everyone, human or animal, deserves a second chance. That's what Ghost gave us." Lily stepped forward, holding Ghost's bridle. "Ghost is my hero," she said softly, "and I think he's everyone's hero now." Applause filled the room, echoing with hope, gratitude, and a sense of new beginnings. Back in Ghost's stall that evening, Anna curled up beside Lily and the big white horse. "We're safe now," she murmured. "You can rest." Ghost nickered softly, his breath warming Anna's hand. Lily snuggled close, her fears finally easing, her laughter brightening the quiet. For the first time, Anna allowed herself to imagine a future not ruled by fear, but by healing, and by the knowledge that together they could face whatever came next. A month had passed since the snowbound night that changed Anna and Lily's lives forever. Pine Brook, once just a quiet mountain town, now buzzed with new energy and a sense of shared victory. The story of Ghost, the retired police horse who saved a child, traveled far beyond the town's borders. Reporters had come and gone, donations poured in for the animal shelter, and every child in Pine Brook seemed to have drawn a picture of Ghost. But for Anna and Lily, the real transformation was quieter, rooted in the slow, messy process of healing. On the day of the award ceremony, Anna stood in front of the mirror in the town hall's small bathroom, straightening Lily's dress and brushing her own hair with hands that still trembled slightly. Ghost, recently out of surgery and still stiff but strong, waited in the parking lot with Dr. Parker. Sunlight glinted off his white coat, The scars along his shoulder now faded pink lines beneath the fuzz of new hair. Anna pressed her palm to her own chest, feeling her heart hammering. Not from fear, but anticipation. This was a different kind of battlefield. The Pinebrook Community Center was packed. Neighbors who had known Anna for years, and some who'd only known her as the single mom who kept to herself, filled the seats. At the front, the mayor and Chief Dale stood beside a podium, the plaque with Anna's name shining in the overhead lights. And beside the stage, Ghost's stallion form loomed quietly, draped in a blue ribbon, his eyes alert but calm. Anna took Lily's hand and walked to the front, the applause thunderous and sincere. She took a deep breath, steadying herself as she accepted the microphone. The silence that followed was expectant, not just for celebration, but for understanding. Anna didn't want to waste the moment. She began simply, "When I left the Marines, I thought I could put the past behind me. But trauma isn't something you outpace, no matter how hard you try. It finds you in sleepless nights and anxious days, in the faces of the people you love most. For me, it showed up as fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of losing what mattered. It made me hard, sometimes even to the people I wanted most to protect." She looked out over the crowd, her voice steady. "I never talked much about PTSD or single motherhood or how hard it is to ask for help. I didn't want anyone to see my scars, but then the night came when Lily was taken, and I realized my scars weren't what made me weak. They were what made me fight. They were proof I'd risked everything for love and survived." She squeezed Lily's hand, voice thickening. "And then there's Ghost. He was trained to be strong, to protect, to charge into danger no matter how scared he was. But like all heroes, he got hurt. He was written off, retired, put out to pasture, left to carry his wounds alone. But when it mattered most, he showed up. He reminded me that healing isn't about erasing what's happened to you. It's about standing up with all your scars and saying, 'I'm still here.'" Tears shimmered in Anna's eyes as she looked at Ghost, who met her gaze with a gentle nicker. "I think all of us, me, Lily, and Ghost, share something now. Not just the memory of what we went through, but the knowledge that we got through it, because we had each other. None of us were alone." A hush fell over the room. Anna continued, "I've learned that trauma is not a weakness, but proof of deep love and risk. Healing comes not from pretending nothing happened, but from showing up again and again, despite the fear. The scars we carry aren't just reminders of pain. They're badges of hope and connection and courage." Chief Dale stepped forward, shaking Anna's hand as the mayor pinned the medal on her jacket. Lily beamed as she received her own ribbon. Then, as the applause faded, Lily surprised everyone by stepping up to the microphone herself. Her voice was soft but clear. "My mom and Ghost are my heroes," Lily said. "But they're not perfect. Sometimes heroes are scared. Sometimes they get hurt. But the best heroes are the ones who stay, who don't give up, even when it's really, really hard. Ghost taught me that." The audience rose in a standing ovation. For Anna, the moment was surreal. She could hardly remember the anxious woman she'd been a month before. That woman was still there, of course, but she'd learned to let people in, to accept help, to talk about her pain. She saw now that her vulnerability had drawn others closer, not pushed them away. As the ceremony ended, Chief Dale handed Anna a letter. "You got mail from the state government. Looks like your story made more waves than you thought." Anna opened the envelope, heart fluttering. Inside was an official invitation and a grant. The state wanted Anna to launch a foundation to help retired service horses and families coping with trauma, inspired by her courage and Ghost's story. Later that evening, Anna, Lily, and Ghost walked the pasture behind their house. The snow had begun to melt, revealing brown grass and the first hints of spring. Anna watched Lily run ahead, Ghost trotting carefully behind her, the scars on both of them now just part of the landscape, no longer a cause for shame, but for pride. Anna leaned on the fence, watching the pair with a heart so full it ached. She remembered her worst nights, alone in the dark, haunted by the past. But now she saw a different future, one built not in spite of her scars, but because of them. She thought about the families she might help through the new foundation, about the other horses, forgotten, broken, but not beyond hope, waiting for someone to see their worth. Ghost nudged her, his nose cold against her cheek. Anna smiled, feeling tears prick her eyes, but they were tears of gratitude, not grief. That night, as the stars dusted the sky, Anna and Lily sat on the porch, Ghost's steady breath behind them. Lily rested her head on Anna's shoulder. "Do you think Ghost dreams about us?" she asked. Anna wrapped her arm around her daughter. "I think he dreams about running, about being safe, about the people who love him, just like we do." In the hush, Anna whispered her own silent promise, to keep showing up, to keep loving fiercely, scars and all. The journey wasn't over. The hard days would still come. But Anna knew now that healing was possible, not alone, but together. Their scars were bridges, not barriers. And as Ghost lifted his head to the moonlight, Anna felt something new and steady bloom inside her, a hope that finally they were home. 1 year later, Pinebrook looked and felt changed, not only on the surface but deep in the hearts of its people. Where there had once been whispers of tragedy and loss, there was now a sense of renewal, a belief that scars could heal and stories could start anew. The morning was bright, snow just beginning to melt in wide patches across the fields, as Anna stood at the edge of the newly built Ghost's Meadow Equine Center. Children's laughter rang out from the paddocks, mingling with the soft nickers and whinnies of rescued horses grazing under the open sky. The center was more than Anna's project. It was a living promise. Here, children who'd suffered trauma found gentle hands and safe spaces. Retired service horses found peace and new purpose. And for Anna and Lily, it was home. Anna leaned on the paddock rail, her eyes drawn to the big white stallion standing a little apart from the others. Ghost's mane had grown long and silvery, his scars softened beneath the brush of time and care. He watched the children with his deep, wise eyes, the winter sun glinting on his coat. Even now, a year after the darkest night of Anna's life, Ghost radiated an aura of quiet strength, living proof of how far they'd come together. Lily darted through the field with a group of friends, her laughter bright and free. She stopped at Ghost's side, reaching up to run her fingers through his mane. A new foal, shy and uncertain, hovered nearby. Lily knelt in the grass, whispering gentle words until the little filly edged closer. Ghost lowered his head, touching his muzzle to the foal's nose in a silent promise. "You're safe here." Anna's heart swelled at the sight. She walked out to join them, the air fresh with pine and the scent of horses. Lily ran to her, her hair wind-blown and cheeks rosy. "Mom, look! She let me pet her." Lily beamed, eyes shining with pride. Anna wrapped her arms around her daughter, feeling the warmth and solidity of this new life. "You have a way with the quiet ones," she said, smiling, "just like Ghost." The filly, still trembling with nerves, pressed against Ghost's side. Anna knelt, meeting the foal's wary gaze. "You'll be okay," she whispered. You're with family now. Other children gathered around, a mixture of excitement and caution on their faces. Many had stories like Lily's, stories of fear, of loss, of nights haunted by shadows. But here at Ghost's Meadow, those stories found gentler endings. Anna watched as one boy, silent since he'd arrived months before, stroked a chestnut mare's neck and whispered something only the horse could hear. Another girl, eyes wide with wonder, let herself laugh as a miniature pony nibbled at her shoelaces. Small miracles, each one. Anna felt a presence at her side and looked up to find Chief Dale leaning on the fence, a warm mug in hand. Place looks good, Anna. You did what you said you would. Anna smiled, gratitude blooming in her chest. I didn't do it alone. The whole town came together. Donations, volunteers, all of it. Even the mayor helped dig post holes. Dale grinned. You gave folks something to believe in, something to be proud of. His face softened as he watched Lily lead the foal, Ghost shadowing protectively behind. I never thought I'd see the day. You know, Ghost has done more for this community than half the folks who live here. Anna laughed softly. He's done more for me than I can ever repay. For Lily, too. Dale sobered, his gaze lingering on the children. I hope you know how many lives you've changed. Not just the kids and horses. You gave people hope. Anna nodded, feeling the truth of his words settle deep inside. The year had not been easy. There were setbacks, nightmares that still haunted her sleep, and days when grief washed over her like a fresh wound. But every time she stepped into the paddock, every time she watched Lily's smile return or saw a horse's fear turn to trust, Anna knew she was on the right path. After Dale left, Anna wandered through the barn, greeting each horse with a quiet word and a gentle touch. At the far stall, she paused. Inside was a girl, no more than 10, quietly brushing a grizzled old gelding. The girl looked up, shy but hopeful. He likes the soft brush, the girl said, voice small. Anna knelt beside her. You have a good touch. Want to help with the feeding later? The girl nodded, eyes shining. Anna squeezed her shoulder. We're glad you're here. Outside, the sky blushed with the promise of afternoon. Anna called to Lily, who came running with Ghost and the new foal trailing behind. They sat together on a blanket near the paddock, sharing sandwiches and stories. Lily leaned against Anna, looking thoughtful. Do you think everyone gets better, Mom? Even the really scared horses? Anna brushed a strand of hair from Lily's face. I think healing takes time, but nobody has to do it alone. That's why we're here, to help each other through the hard parts. Ghost taught me that. Ghost nosed at their sandwiches, looking for crumbs. Anna laughed and handed him a piece of apple. She felt the past year like a tide behind her, sometimes rough, sometimes gentle, but always pushing her forward. The pain and the fear were still part of her, but they no longer ruled her life. Now, there was room for hope, for new beginnings. As the sun slipped toward the horizon, Anna gathered the children together for one last group moment in the field. She spoke quietly, but every word carried. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's loving enough to walk through the dark together. Every act of rescue saves 2 lives. The rescued and the rescuer. If you see someone, animal or human, alone in the cold, promise you'll reach out. Promise you'll stay. That's how hope begins. The children nodded, solemn and inspired. Ghost snorted softly, his silver mane bright in the evening light. Anna felt peace settle in her bones, a peace she hadn't thought possible in the aftermath of all they'd endured. As families gathered their things and the last horses wandered to their stalls, Anna watched the paddock empty, the sky fading to violet and gold. Lily hugged her tightly, her voice sleepy and content. "We're really okay now, aren't we?" Anna smiled, kissing her daughter's hair. "Yes, honey, we are." As they walked home beneath the stars, Anna felt the world open ahead of them. Uncertain, sometimes dangerous, but beautiful too. Ghost's steady footsteps followed close behind, and Anna knew whatever the future held, they would face it together. Every wound, every scar, had become a bridge, proof that healing is a journey best shared. And in the quiet heart of Pinebrook, hope began again, one act of kindness at a time.